One of the first things a new visitor to the Rehoboth home notices is the children's joy and freedom. They enjoy playing together and sharing. They enjoy working together. They enjoy meals together and reading the Bible together. They enjoy the love they receive every day from those here who care for them. But it wasn't always like this. These children came here from a life of abuse. They survived little or no family structure, were malnourished, and often homeless. Many were physically and emotionally abused. None had ever experienced love.
You can feed a child with the best food, but unless that child is loved, it will not thrive. Children need love almost more than they need their food. But to really grow strong, they need both good food and pure love.
Victor and Chicky Barbella founded New Life and Peace Ministries Guatemala in 1992, beginning with residential Christian centers for drug addicts, alcoholics, and prostitutes. These centers are a place for those seeking God's answers for their life, and this ministry continues today, directed by Victor and Chicky and managed by those who have worked their way through the program. Then in 2000, the Barbellas took on a new challenge, a home for boys who had no home.
Well, it just sort of dropped into our laps. Someone came to me and told me they were closing their children's home, and would Chicky and I be interested in taking it over? Chicky had been involved in the lives of these children through a kids club we had in our church. I thought Chicky would be able to take over the responsibilities of the children, so I volunteered her for this work. She has never really thanked me for that, but has done a wonderful job. It has fulfilled a need in her life as well as in the lives of the children. What can you say? How can you just turn these kids out in the streets again?
But as with the children, life wasn't always God and missions for Victor and Chicky either. Both came from difficult backgrounds. Victor is an ex-heroin addict, an ex-felon who grew up on the tough streets of Philadelphia, and Chicky came from a life of alcohol, drugs, and witchcraft.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. If God were to pick the least likely person in the whole world to be a missionary to addicts and children, it would be me. I had an experience in prison with the Lord when I was facing 15 years in the penitentiary. I was a major felon in 2 states, Pennsylvania and New Jersey. I had previously been arrested for assault with intent to commit murder, burglary, and possession of heroin. At the time of my arrest, I was waiting to make a phone call. I was thinking about what I wanted to do. I didn't want to get out of prison, but I didn't want to do 15 years in prison either. So I thought, I'll kill myself. But I didn't like that idea any better than the other 2 ideas. Then something happened to me. I felt myself turn, but I didn't move physically. I felt myself come into the presence of the Lord. For the first time in my life, I had peace. Peace about who I was and where I was. I knew that after this moment, everything was going to be all right. I heard this voice inside me say, "Wait in jail until I get you out." I waited for over 4 months in the county jail, and one day a person came from a center in Norman, New Jersey, to have me released to the custody of a ministry. I had never had a lawyer, an interview, or put up any bail money, yet I was released from prison and never went back. I received 2 years probation for my last offense. I had no lawyer at the trial, and the judge let me speak on my own behalf. He said, "I don't know, Barbella, you're hanging on by a mighty thin thread, but I believe that you have seen the light. I'm going to give you 2 years probation." He was a Jewish judge. I worked for 15 years with the director of the drug and alcohol rehab ministry that I was released to. And now we have started 2 drug and alcohol rehab ministries, one in Guatemala and one in Nicaragua. We also have started a home church and this home for children. From a felon who deserved 15 years in prison to a missionary serving nearly that many years in Guatemala, now that is a miracle.
Soon after the boys' home started, the Barbellas outgrew their house in Panorama. In 2002, through generous contributions from supporters and hard work, they purchased property near Paramos and constructed a boys' home there, including a home for them overlooking the property. Rehoboth, an open space, as Isaac called it in Genesis 26:22, was born. Through sponsorships of $50 per month and other contributions from individuals, families, and churches, the Barbellas provide housing, a warm bed, food, clothing, medical care, and schooling for the children. The support also provides for domestic help, a cook, counselors, a social worker, English and music classes, and house parents, all necessary to maintain a family this large. In 2007, the Rehoboth Home for Boys was modified. In August 2007, an 11-year-old boy was brought to the Rehoboth Boys Home, a new addition, and he came with his 8-year-old sister, which created a new challenge.
I had an experience working with girls in homes back in the United States and always told Victor that I would never have a home for girls. Well, God has a way of taking what we say and turning it around on us. He sure did that with me.
We really didn't want to separate a brother from his sister. These kids have had a tragic enough life without that happening. So despite the fact that we didn't have a girls' home, that day we started one.
Today, the girls' home stands just down the driveway from the boys' home, and there are plans to expand it. Rehoboth Home for Boys and Girls is a haven for children who were once alone, hungry, and abused. A real home where God's love is shared and where they are secure and receive guidance so they can grow into fine young men and women able to fulfill God's purpose for their lives. But the story doesn't end here. The needs continue to grow as the Rehoboth family grows. We are praying for the construction of a home for boys 18 and older who still need assistance to grow into adulthood, but a place providing more independent living, and house parents to help guide them with love and life skills as they mature. We are in constant need of individuals and teams interested in tutoring, teaching, directing sports activities, and teaching computer skills. We need help with fundraising, with construction and maintenance projects, and with public relations. We are praying for directors to work alongside us to expand the vision that God has given us. Please prayerfully consider how you can become a part of the Rehoboth family. God has so graciously provided a home for these children. He has touched hearts and changed lives. He has opened His arms wide to the little children.
God made room for me.
God made room for me.
God made room for me. God made room for me. God made room for me. God made room for me.